All right, everybody. Thank you for everybody that's been downloading the Detroit Sports Podcast. To support us, we'd love for you to go check out DetroitSportsPodcast.com. It's the hub for our podcast. You can check out 24/7 online deals. You can save money on car rentals. You can check out the DSP shop. You can buy tickets. Anything at all regarding Detroit sports, you can find at DetroitSportsPodcast.com. It's also the place where you can go to download the Doc and Jock program. Thank you guys for your support. Check out our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. It's the free and easy way to help us continue to provide great sports content. www.DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Thank you in advance.
We appreciate y'all.
Hey everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listen to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
All I want to know is if you got your popcorn ready. Do you got your popcorn ready?
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Darren McCarty gets his shots in at Claude Lemieux. And look who came all the way out to try to help. Patrick Waugh. Oh, my goodness.
You are listening to the Doc and Jock Show on the Detroit Sports Podcast.
Yes, sir. Cousin Adam, what's going on, my friend?
What's up, buddy? Just let that wash all over you.
Welcome, everybody, to the Doc and Jock Sports Program. I am the Doc, John Macaroon.
Every time I go out, you know I got to show out.
Joining me is my favorite cousin, Adam, the Jock Strozynski.
You're the future of our business.
What's happening?
Not too much, brother. I brought a special guest today. The wife is in tow with me. She's sitting here across from me right now. She will be on mic. I know you have a bunch of questions for her, so I'm going to let you just start ripping away.
Well, first off, properly introduce your wife to the audience. Your wife's name is Lourine. Welcome to the Doc and Jock Sports Program. What's happening, Lourine?
Not much, just hanging out.
Okay, good. So Adam and I do this every week. We talk sports, and about an hour a week. First of all, I want to say thank you for letting Adam come to the podcast and letting him get out of the house to do this recording. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. That's my free time too, so.
So now, from time to time, Adam will tell me some things that are going on in your day-to-day life and activities.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. No, most of them are good. Most of them are good, Lourine, honestly. Last week, we were about to start talking, and some things that really hit me when Adam starts telling me about the stuff he does. So last week, we were about to start doing the podcast, and Adam busted out with this. Listen to it, and then I have to say something. I need your response, and then you can sit back and listen to the idiocy that is the Doc and Jock program. All right?
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
Before we start talking sports, I want to sit there. I want to cover something. So I went grocery shopping the other day, right? Because the wife asked me to, and I'm a good husband some of the times. Not all the times, but some of the times. I'm quite average. So I went and picked some things up for her, right?
Okay, Adam and I were prepared to do a podcast. And before we were ready to start, Adam is like, I need to, he tells me I went shopping for the wife. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I have never really done that. I always let the wife handle that. And Andrea does great. My wife, Andrea, is great. She handles all the shopping and things like that. So in my mind, I'm thinking, why is Adam doing the shopping? Does he do a good job? Does he get the stuff at a good price? He's come off an internship where he's getting up at like 4 o'clock. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, why is my boy doing the shopping? So now that you're here, I can get your opinion on what is going on with Adam. Why is he doing the shopping in the house?
Because it's his job too. I mean, we like to share things. It's 50-50 in the household there.
That doesn't work for me. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Wait,
no,
you
no.
never go grocery shopping for your wife? You never look at your wife and says, you know what? You've been working really, really hard. You've been spending a lot of time with the kids. Let me go take a load off. Sit back, relax. let me go get this done for you.
I do say that, but it's not involved. It's not involved.
It doesn't involve you getting out of the house and going to the grocery store.
Exactly.
That's a different load.
Oh.
So, but I am proud of you, Adam. Good job, man. You do the shopping. First of all, first, does he get the stuff that he needs at a reasonable price, and does he do a good job?
Yes, he's a great shopper. He's a great help with everything around the house.
Okay.
Most of the time.
Okay. Now he said that he does admit sometimes he's a little bit ornery or things like that around the house. How's he been lately? Because listen, I'm a psychologist full time.
Oh boy.
I can help my cousin before we start, hashing it out in sports. I can help my cousin while we're here right now. I always have the Dr. Brain on, so I can help out. Lourine, how is my cousin with you? How does he treat you lately?
He's a great husband. He's a great best friend. He helps me a lot at the house.
So like how she was really hesitant about all that?
No.
He's good.
No, he's a great helper. He's my best friend. He tries to do things when I'm not home. He asks me if I always need anything when I'm at work. Working 12-hour shifts, 3 to 4 days a week, or sometimes more. He just tries to help me out a lot. So I'm very, very thankful for him being so awesome.
So you're getting no dirt from her, buddy. No dirt from her.
You've done good, cuz. Good job. You've done good.
Our dirt's staying between our four walls unless he decides to open his big mouth. Let me go take a load off.
Oh, see?
All right, cuz. No, that's good. And like I said, thank you for letting him do this. This is fun. We get a chance to just shoot the breeze an hour a week, and we get a chance to talk sports and do our thing. And we can't do it without the support of our wives and things like that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's what he loves to do. So
Is she the first one we've had in studio on air with us?
She's the first.
Oh, see?
So Lourine is the first. Your wife is the first person in the studio in the new revamped studio. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Your contributions to our website allow us to do this every single week. And we've picked up some gear here, and we can have some fun with it. And coming weeks, we're going to have more guests. We're going to have, just like the people that we've had come on before on the phone, we'd love to chat with them in person. And this gives us a chance to do that. We have a nice little studio here, nice little office, and we get a chance to talk sports and do our thing. And that's what it's about. And, there's only one person I would really do this with every single week, and that's my cousin. So thank you again, Lourine, and sit back, relax. You can do whatever you want here. And,
He says that unless she's 5'7", probably about $115, and she's got a nice set of C's on her. Other than that, I'm the guy.
You got it, cuz. All right, cuz.
I just like being the first and popping cherry, so...
There you go.
All right. You got it. All right. Thanks, Lourine. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Let me go take a load off.
All right, cuz, man, great week in sports. Lots of exciting things to talk about this week on the podcast. To start off, man, bad news. Did you get a sense DocNJock curse hit again? We were just talking about the Pistons trading Brandon Jennings for some assets just last week on the last podcast. And all of a sudden, boom, Brandon Jennings torn Achilles. And now, and whenever you have an injury like that, their career could be in jeopardy. You don't know if he's ever going to get his explosiveness back. And it's just a horrific injury and came at the worst possible time. Cuz what was your reaction when you saw Brandon Jennings go down and out for the year, Achilles injury?
My heart sunk. Like, it fell down into my stomach, and I thought I crapped it out on the chair that I was playing cards on. I was like, are you serious? I was like, the Pistons? Like, he's their heart and soul right now. He's their leader. He's the one that team counts on. That's the guy. We've dubbed him the next Chauncey Billups. He's that guy. He's the one who's supposed to lead this team. And when things aren't going right, he's the one who gets in everybody's face and makes it right and makes it happen. He just came off a game where he scored 21 points or had 24 points and 21 assists. I mean, setting records. And now he's done for the year, and his career might be over. I mean, I was reading this story in the newspaper today, and it basically said that these guys don't come back from an injury like this. It doesn't happen. The only thing he's got on his side is he's 25 years old. That's it. The fact that he's young. But the surgery is so intense and so involved. Imagine taking like a piece of braided rope and just fraying it. And so you have all these little strings that are just kind of hanging out there. That's your Achilles tendon. So now they got to go in and they got to now reattach each one of those individual strings, and they got to try to match it up with the other side. That's impossible. So they can't do that. So then they got to sit there and they got to basically overlap these strings, and your Achilles tendon tends to be shorter then. So you're, like you said, you're not explosive anymore. You don't have that quick first step. You don't jump as high. You can't run as fast. So his career might be over. He might be done as not just a Piston, but as an NBA point guard.
And cause you know what the worst part was? The Pistons were balling. I think they, in a 15-game stretch, went 12-3. They were playing much better. They were dropping bombs on teams. They were winning games by a large margin. The offense picked up. The Palace was rocking again. A new life was brought to the Pistons, and it was cut short. Why? Why does this team deserve that? It's not really fair because, you know, a team like the Pistons, they really hit rock bottom, and we talked about it. They were a team that really struggled for a long period of time. The Palace was empty. I read earlier today, it's been 5 years since they've made the playoffs, and that's the longest streak in the Eastern Conference. It's one of those situations where they didn't have a lot of success, and we just got a little taste, this much of taste of success, and he goes down. And now a lot of questions have come about as to what's going to happen in the future. What's this team going to look like? How are the Pistons going to rebound from this horrific injury? And just to start off, DJ Augustin, great first game versus Toronto, and he really wanted to show that, hey, he got cut by Toronto before he got signed on by Chicago last season. So he went out there and he was motivated to ball. 35 points, 8 assists, 2 turnovers in 37 minutes. You're not going to need that type of production, but you're going to need that type of efficiency. He played really well.
You're going to need something close to that, and you're going to have to hope that by the end of the season, his legs don't fall off, because that's a lot of minutes, especially for a guy like that at this point in his career, right? You can't expect him to go out there and basically play an entire game, every single game, game in, game out. So they're going to have to find some type of assist for DJ Augustin. You have to get a guy in here who can maybe pick up 15 minutes a night and is going to have to be productive and have to work with that same efficiency that you talked about. Because DJ Augustin went out there and he played his pants off. That guy played outstanding. And I hope that he can carry that over, but you can't count on that type of production and those type of minutes going forward for the rest of the season, because he's going to be ran into the ground sometime around game 62, and you still got 20 games, and at this point, they're a few games out of the 8th playoff spot. So even if they do bubble up and they do make it into that playoffs, they're still going to be fighting for position and whether or not they'll even make the playoffs, because with this injury and everything that's kind of happened because of it, I don't know if they have enough. And I don't know if there's enough leadership in that locker room for them to kind of go on and get into the playoffs and then make an actual run. Whereas before we were talking about it, we were pretty confident this team was going to at least make it in as an 8 seed, probably closer to a 6 seed, and then go and actually make a little bit of noise. I mean, every time that they've played the Atlanta Hawks, they've hung with the Hawks. And right now the Hawks are first in the Eastern Conference. And every time that they play the Hawks, they sit there and they do a great job. And they sometimes come away with a win. Sometimes they come away with a very close loss. But this team is efficient when they play Atlanta. And we thought, at least I thought, that this team could compete with them and possibly cause an upset if they were to sneak in as an 8th seed.
Okay, no, my opinion is this. I don't think that the goal of maybe being the 6th or 7th seed is out there anymore. But because the Eastern Conference, if you looked at the rankings, above them right now is Miami, Charlotte, and Brooklyn. And Miami only has 1 or 2 more wins than them. Charlotte only 2 more wins than them. So right now, it may be one of those situations where we don't earn our way into the playoffs, but we may back into it because the East is garbage. The 8th seed could be legitimately 5 to 6 games under. So I think that should give the Pistons hope to play really well, to really put out a lot of effort each and every game, and for the guys to prove themselves. Look what happened when Josh Smith went out. We all kind of thought, okay, we've hit rock bottom now. Nobody predicted that they were going to go 12-3 and play like this. Now, are they going to struggle? Are they going to lose more games going forward? Yes. But I do think that Augustine and Dinwiddie can produce, be serviceable at that position. They may be looking at making some trades. I read earlier this week that maybe they might do a series of 10-day contracts with guys that are not in the league to see what can stick. The Pistons, I think, should ride DJ Augustine. They should continue to develop Dinwiddie. But if they can trade, if they cannot lose a significant piece and get a guy, get the point guard from New York, then that would be something that they could logistically do to try to improve this team. But because you lose a lot in his offense, but the Pistons, when they play Toronto, they stunk it up on defense. And that's something that Stan Van Gundy wants this team to do, is perform well on offense, but really put forth the effort on defense. And if they don't do that, they're not going to compete going forward, even if they had Brandon Jennings.
That's the one thing I think that you're going to miss the most, and that you will see in the stat lines, whether it be on the scoreboard or it just be in the numbers that contribute to wins and losses. It's going to be Brandon Jennings' defense, because that guy was out there during that stretch of 15 games where they won 12. Jennings was out there making timely steals, forcing passes, creating turnovers that led to buckets, whether they be easy or not. He was out there and he was guarding generally their best player. Whoever was bringing the ball up, he was on them. And he was forcing them to make moves and turn that ball over, which then led to that entire team running back down the court, either making layups or jacking up threes to win games. So I think that's where you're going to miss him most. And that's where it's going to be hard to replace a guy like Brandon Jennings. And I don't know if DJ Augustine has the defensive wherewithal to be able to do something like that. And Spencer Dinwiddie's not there yet. I mean, let's be honest about it. He was a player that I think we all thought was going to need some work with, Stan Van Gundy and this coaching staff. And for him to be put in this place right now and to have this heaped upon him and him told, hey, we need you now to step up and you've got to basically play like you've never played before. You got to take a real role here. That's a lot to ask on a guy like that.
So in the end, do you think now that Brandon Jennings is not on this roster, won't be around for the rest of the season, do you think this team can back into the playoffs? Or should they, everyone around town, everyone when you start saying, should they tank? They start like making that weird face, like when you have spoiled milk. Yeah, nobody likes to tank. Nobody likes to intentionally lose. But going forward, imagine what this team could look like if you get that high draft pick, if you lose a little bit more of your games and you are able to get into that lottery and get a significant upgrade going forward. I mean, Brandon Jennings is going to return next season, and Stan Van Gundy's job is to kind of also not only look at what they're going to do this year, but also look ahead to the future and see what they can do. And if they lose more games, then I think that it's potentially in their best interest going forward in order to improve this roster in the long run. We are looking at reshaping this team. And because of, Joe Dumars and his ineffectiveness, we didn't have a first-round pick last year. And it's one of those things where this team needs to rebuild. And while we may not say tank, maybe we should remove that word from our lexicon. We should just say, maybe it's not in our best interest to win as many games going forward.
I don't like tanking. And
what the hell is that about?
This is the one moment where I'm excited that we have Stan Van Gundy behind the bench, because Stan Van Gundy will know exactly what to do and how to get the best out of his players, not just for this season, but to set him up going forward. You got to realize too, Brandon Jennings, if he does come back next season, he might not be the same player that he was during this stretch where we've seen just this unfurling of a different player, this man-child out there just playing like he's never played before. All right, you might not get that ever again. You might not see that brief 15-game stretch that you got to witness that might be all that you ever see of Brandon Jennings playing like that. So I don't like tanking because you have guys like DJ Augustine who can sit there and go out there and throw 35 in the hoop and sit there and help get you to a win. You got a guy like Augustine who can sit there and distribute the ball. You got a guy like Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond who are big down on the blocks. You might not have Greg Monroe next year. So if you lose pieces like this, just because you're going to get a couple extra draft picks doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be in a better spot next year. So I don't ever like tanking. I think that having Stan Van Gundy behind the bench with his collar popped and his taco meat hanging out of his shirt, I think you're in a better situation and you're in a better spot now because he'll know how to sit there and work these guys and get the best out of this lineup. Everybody kind of it was a panic when Josh Smith got let go. Everybody rejoiced, but it was a panic because it was like, what's going to happen now? How is this team going to react? How are we going to rebound? And you've seen it. You've seen it in a tear of 12 wins in 15 games, and they just weren't 12 wins against bottom feeder teams. You were going up against the likes of the Cavs. You were going up against the likes of Atlanta. You played back-to-back games in Dallas and in San Antonio, and you beat both those squads. So you've seen them do it against high-level competition, guys who are expected to be in the playoffs and who you expect to sit there and be in the finals, and they did it, and they did it in outstanding fashion. So I think Stan Van Gundy will get the best out of this team, and he'll set this team up moving forward, not just for this year, but for next year and the year after that. I think Stan Van Gundy has a great pulse of this team and knows how to get these players where he wants them to be.
Okay, now earlier I heard you say, who do you think is going to have to step up and take that leadership role? And you weren't sure there was a player on this team that can do that. But a lot of times the perception is that Brandon Jennings carried this team. But that didn't really happen. If you really look at it, a lot of things happened when Josh Smith was let go. Andre Drummond and Greg Monroe got out of each other's way. It opened their games up. Jonas Jerebko is back. Jody Meeks is able to get a lot of open looks and is able to knock down threes. Caron Butler is a veteran player. So you have guys on the team that can be expected to step up. So I don't think it's going to have to be one person. I think that by committee, if Andre Drummond, Greg Monroe, Jody Meeks, who lately has been struggling with his shot, as we can see, when he shoots a lot of threes, and we want him to, be more effective in terms of making them. But when he gets on fire, he's a great player that we got and really was a key player in the turnaround. But if guys like Andre Drummond, Greg Monroe, Jonas Jerebko, Caron Butler, Jody Meeks, those guys can take on the leadership role by committee and continue this streak. Now, yeah, I think it's going to be tougher to beat the top teams in the East, like Toronto, Cleveland, Atlanta. Those teams are going to be tough teams to beat. Teams like Chicago. Those are going to be the top 5, and they're going to be favorites. And each and every game that you play against those guys is going to be very challenging. But the NBA as a whole isn't that great.
It's a bad product. I think we both agree it's a bad product.
Yeah, so I do agree that by committee, this team can, do well. I don't think that they're going to fall off the face of the earth. I'm just saying that maybe, I know you don't like the word tank, but if you look at the long-term future of the Pistons, it just makes sense that it's in their best interest to do that.
If I had to pick one guy that I thought could step in and take over that leadership role, it'd probably be Greg Monroe.
Come on, man. That guy's going to be headed out of town soon.
That's the one problem I have with Greg Monroe taking over is he's on his way out the door. Who knows if he really wants to do that, or who knows if that's even in his character to be that player. We don't know. We didn't think Brandon Jennings was that guy. We all thought Brandon Jennings was kind of a flake. You moved Josh Smith out of the way, and it allowed him to assert himself. He sat there and he basically was the will of that team. Whatever that team needed to get done, he sat there, looked at those guys, and punched them in the chest, said, hey, we're going to go get this done. So I think Greg Monroe has it in him to be that player and be that guy. I don't know if it's going to be him, though, but he's the one guy who I can look up and down this roster, and I can see being that guy. I don't think Augustine has it in him. I think Andre Drummond's a few years away from taking over a leadership role like that. I don't think Kyle Singler can do that because I don't think he plays enough. I don't think Jonas Jerebko, what he's like the 7th man. So I don't think that works that way, So I think if there's one guy, I think it's got to be Greg Monroe, who has to step in, has to take over the leadership of that locker room.
In a funny story, did you hear the news about the teenage girl, 17 years old? She went on Twitter and she decided that, okay, I want to take Andre Drummond to the prom. So please hook me up with 12,000 retweets. Let's get this spread around town, and let's try to get Andre Drummond to take me to the prom. That's what people are doing nowadays. Did you hear that story?
I did not hear that story. Did you retweet her?
No, I did not.
Are you sure?
I did not do it
You're
yet.
a Twitter whore.
Should I do it?
You're a Twitter whore. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
You retweet everything else.
I like our Twitter page.
I like our Twitter page too. It's very entertaining. I liked the Patriots ball boy. That was cute. Well played.
You like that?
I really think the one guy actually thought that was legitimately the ball boy.
Oh my God!
He didn't realize that was my face.
I didn't catch it either. The one that was like, "Do you believe everything you're in the media?" I didn't get that.
I think he actually believes that's legitimately the ball boy.
Yeah.
No, guy, that's me.
That's
my face.
That's me, John, messing with my cousin. So I take his face and cut it out and put it in weird places. And I thought it was funny, so I get a kick out of that. So no, yeah, I don't get what people are doing nowadays. But to go on Twitter, and I guess maybe he'll do it. I think.
Hey, if I do that, do you think I can get a date with Eva Mendes?
That the person you want to go with?
That's my number one. That's my number one over there. Okay. But if she wasn't in the picture, then Eva Mendes is like my 1B. So yeah.
No. You're really weird.
I like this.
You don't think Eva Mendes is hot? What's up, dude?
No, I do, but come on, man.
I'm not a Kate Upton fan. That makes me weird.
No, I don't get weirded out in general by the people that respond to us on Twitter, but it is kind of weird if you're gonna,
Yeah, beg for people to hook you up on dates. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
And on top of it, Andre Drummond's like 20. She's like 16?
16, 17.
Yeah,
so that's opening up a can of worms.
That's weird.
But yeah, Andre Drummond, I think has rebounded nicely. He made that mistake in terms of driving fast and taking that picture. The one thing though with Andre Drummond, if you're watching, his game is inconsistent. How are you going to go out there and play and get 2 points, 2 rebounds with that size? Stan Van Gundy laced into him. And at this point in time, you would expect that every single night, game in, game out, Andre Drummond's going to get 20 points. Are you kidding me? 2 points, 2 rebounds? You can't go out there and do that. Not even even though you're young and inexperienced, you got to put forth the effort, and that's an effort thing. And it's one of those things that it's eye-opening in terms of his ability to be a leader on this team going forward. You can't be doing that when this team needs you, you can't be putting out performances that porous.
You'd really like his field goal percentage to be a lot better, especially since he plays so close to the rim. But the one thing he does bring is rebounds. That guy is fierce on the boards. Him and Greg Monroe both go after loose balls like nobody's business. So I do like that, but you're absolutely right. He needs to be more consistent. He needs to be able to put the ball in the basket, and he's got to do it at a much better clip than 2 points a game. That guy, there's no reason he shouldn't be scoring 15 points a game on average. There's no reason. You'd like them to see him maybe do, a 20 and 10, just have an average of 20 and 10. That'd be outstanding. I don't know if you'll get that right now out of him. I think going forward, though, understand Van Gundy's tutelage, I think you'll eventually get that from that guy.
All right. So it's going to be an interesting future for the Pistons ahead. Brandon Jennings did tweet out earlier this week a picture after his surgery. By all accounts, it went well. In general, when Isaiah Thomas hurt his Achilles, you kind of knew that it was done based on all the miles. Now, with technology, with the great level of surgery and the care that he's going to get, I don't think that it's going to be one of those things where it could be lingering. And a lot of people say when you tear your Achilles, it's all mental. It's healed. It's done pretty well. But once you tear it that first time, you freak out mentally because you don't want to make those cuts. You don't want to do something that could potentially injure you in the future. So it's all mental. But
similar maybe to like an ACL, and you've seen the way a guy like Adrian Peterson has rehabbed and come back, and you've seen kind of the way other football players have rehabbed and come back. Maybe it seems almost too early. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's the same type of situation. Hopefully you can get by that mental block. If that's the case. That's
the case. It's going to be mental, and especially for a player like him. His game was based on explosiveness, getting to the hole, and now he's going to have to maybe, when he initially comes back, he's going to have to learn to play a different style of game, and it's going to be interesting to see how he responds. Man, it just sucks, man. Just that little bit of taste of success, and that's what happened. We should have sold him high, like DocNJock said. We should have sold him high, man. We should have got something for him. But in the end, that's what happened. The Pistons are going to need to step it up, to develop some new leaders, and have some success going forward. All right, everybody, stay with us after the break. We're going to play a round of the Doctors in Session. Jock, I'm sure, has some great questions lined up. And
all-star studded Doctors in Session.
Let's do this. Stay with us. Definitely check out the guys at the Detroit Sports Nation, DetroitSportsNation.com. Great website. They are unbelievable. They are killing it on Facebook. Give them a like at their Facebook page, Detroit Sports Nation, and definitely check out their website, DetroitSportsNation.com. Our collaboration with them has been excellent, and they continue to be a strong presence here on the podcast because they bring the noise and they have great content. So thank you guys again. We can't thank you enough.
You're the future of our business, and I know when you guys have a podcast like this, our future is in good hands.
You got to check out their stuff. I mean, I'm really impressed by it. You guys have probably one of the better ones I've seen in the country.
Wow.
In a short period of time, you've done good work. Look at me kissing your hand.
I know.
All right, DocNJock doing this podcast every single week. You can download this podcast every single Thursday on iTunes, and if you're an Android user, I'm not. I'm an iTunes iPhone guy. You can find us on Stitcher. So there should be no reason that you don't download this podcast if you're a fan of Detroit sports. This podcast reaches overseas. We have been told that we get tweets all the time at our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast that this podcast helps people keep up with Detroit sports all over the country. People who are active in the military tell us thank you quite a bit and tell us thank you for doing this, keeping us abreast as to what's going on, providing that little distraction for those that do serve. And we always greatly appreciate those that are serving our country. All right, cuz another week, it's time for the Doctors in Session. I'm ready to do this. I'm curious to see what's been on your mind and what you got for me.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here. I'm the man. Woo!
I love a good Ric Flair. Woo! All right, buddy. All-Star Weekend for the NHL just passed, and it's getting panned by everyone. What are your thoughts on this past weekend celebration of the NHL and its best players?
Okay, I'll let you start. I'll let you answer this. The good or the bad? There was good. There was some good at the All-Star Game weekend. There was some bad. I'll let you decide. What do you want to hear first? The Doc's opinion on what was great about the All-Star Weekend, or the Doc's opinion on what was not so great?
Let's hear what was good, because everybody else has been filling the airwaves with negativity. So go ahead. Let's be positive.
Right. Okay, the game finished 17-12, and by all accounts, people are like, "Oh, they're not trying, they're not skating," but it was an entertaining game. There was flow, yes. It's an All-Star game. These guys are not going to risk injury in an All-Star game. That is stupid, especially for some of these guys who are in the mix in the playoffs. It was a 17-12 game. Yes, it was very high scoring, but it was very entertaining. Roberto Luongo opened my eyes. You know, the skills competition and in the game, look, Roberto Luongo showed his stuff. And by all accounts, he's a goaltender that hasn't really lived up to potential. And he's a guy that has a lot of flash. But over the weekend, he played pretty well. And he made some eye-opening saves during the game. And it was very entertaining. I kind of liked Ryan Johansson, played very well. I liked John Tavares, did a great job during the game. And the fans in Columbus were shown a great entertaining product. And that's something that the NHL needs to do. But just let me ask you this. Did you even know that the All-Star game was going on? There was like no promotion.
There was no promotion for it. And on top of it, they played it on, I believe it was NBC, or yeah, it was on NBC, whatever their channel is.
NBC Sports Network.
Yeah,
Come on now.
that channel. So, yeah, really bad. The NHL dropped the ball big time on this. It should have been on NBC, and it should have been leading up to it. It should have been a lot more promotion than what it was. I knew it was coming. I didn't realize that it was actually that weekend. I ended up figuring it out by Friday that the All-Star game was going on because I got a Sports Center message on my phone about the draft that was taking place. So the NHL tends to always drop the ball with these types of things, and the only thing that they ever really do well are the Winter Classic or the open ice games. That's all they ever really seem to get right. But yeah, NHL totally dropped the ball on this.
Okay, so did you? I know you're a hockey snob. Did you tune into the game?
I caught parts of it. Yeah, I actually had my own game going on during the actual All-Star game itself, so I caught the end of it.
Yeah,
I did like Alex Ovechkin going in and digging for a loose puck and caused a little bit of a ruckus. I did like that. That was fun to see. That made me happy. Reminded me of Jeremy Roenick annihilating guys during All-Star games. He would just sit there and just bone-crushing checks on them and just pick up the puck and skate away with it. So it reminded me a little bit of that.
Yeah, and during the game, Ovechkin tried to make a sick move on Luongo. He made a great glove save. It was like, whoa, got me out of my seat. No, it was a fun, entertaining game, but I think for the fans out there, for the media, you have to, take it for what it is. It's an exhibition. Enjoy it. For those that panned it, I can understand why. There was a lot of things that were that make you go, what's going on with the decision making? Who is heading PR? What are they doing? But overall, like I said, Ryan Johansson played great. John Tavares scored 4 goals. I mean, it was overall entertaining game. If you went into it with a mindset of, let me be entertained by the skills of these guys, then you were entertained. But if you went into it going, oh, are these guys going to compete? Are they going to keep it low scoring? Are they going to try? Then you're going to walk away disappointed. Now, to the stuff that was annoying, I don't understand why Columbus has this cannon that goes off, especially in an All-Star game.
It's because they're Blue Jackets, man. They're Blue Jackets.
But this is an All-Star game.
I know.
So it was horrible. I was like, what the hell? I was so annoyed by that cannon going off. Boom. They did stop it midway through the second and then brought it back. But by then, it was just really annoying and it was stupid. And then the NHL tried to get gimmicky, but they wouldn't let Johnny Gaudreau wanted to, in the skills competition, he wanted to bring out a stick that had fire on it. So he tried to get that approved, a flaming stick to get in the skills competition, and they said no. That would have been cool, wouldn't it?
I think it would have been great.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Sidney Crosby got, he had to miss the game because of an injury. So Johnny Gaudreau is a very talented player. He's a guy that, by all accounts, should have been on the team. But due to numbers and due to things like that, he wasn't. Another player said he wasn't going to play until he finally got in. But a guy like Johnny Gaudreau should have been there. And so that whole ordeal made it kind of weird in that he tried to get on the team, but he had to have 2 players miss. But why not? Why not have a flaming stick, do some interesting stuff in these All-Star games, something to mix it up? But they didn't allow it, and a young talented player was going to do some sick things in the skills competition, and it didn't work out. But like I said, it was on NBC, SN. It wasn't, like I said, a typical hockey game. There was no checking. The players are having fun, yoking it up. So in that respect, I understand why people were mad. But the cannon and the NHL not letting Gaudreau do some antics made it kind of dull.
NHL's always behind the curve. They totally should have allowed that, and I think that would have got people talking about it, which would have then helped boost it up a little bit. Moving on. So NBA All-Star Game. I told you this was All-Star studded. NBA All-Star Game is coming up. Mark Cuban has come out and dismissed the All-Star voting for the NBA, stating that it's absolutely, and I quote, absolutely positively broken. I want to know how you feel about fan voting for the All-Star Games, and I'm going to give you a few examples here. All right, your boy, Justin Bieber, I know you're a huge Bieber fan. He sat there, tweeted out trying to get a bunch of votes for Kyle Lowry because Twitter is now used for the All-Star voting. He put the wrong hashtag, so the 25,000 retweets that were supposed to go for Kyle Lowry didn't count. So he bobbled that, in turn, kind of bobbled it for Kyle Lowry. Also, you have a team like the Atlanta Hawks who are number one in the NBA, and they have nobody going to the All-Star game at this point in time because of fan voting. And yet you still have a guy like Kobe Bryant who is struggling and will be out for shoulder surgery on his rotator cuff, who is a starting point guard in the All-Star game. About? So what are your thoughts on the way that the NBA goes about voting for All-Star games? And do you agree with Mark Cuban? Oh, dial tone.
No. It's a very, very interesting point. Great question, but here's the thing. This,
it's a long-winded question.
The NBA is an interesting situation going on right now because the product on the court is really bad. The shooting, by all accounts, is not that great. The talent, is still too young, still developing. There's quite a disparity in between the top teams and the lower end teams. So the NBA has a lot of issues going on. But I read the article further. You got that from Yahoo, I believe, because I read the Yahoo article discussing Mark Cuban. And if you dig a little further, he kind of made the point that all in all, only 1.5 million votes were counted. And he was kind of saying like, okay, the fan voting is broken because we have lots of fans, millions and millions of fans all over the country. And only 1.5 million votes went towards the fan voting. And so he's thinking like, okay, yeah, the system is broken because the vast majority of fans didn't vote. The ones that did, Kobe Bryant was named a starter of the All-Star game. So the part that makes it interesting is that these players use All-Star game appearances as contract leverage tools. Come on now. That is something that shouldn't happen. How many All-Star games you make should not play a part when you're negotiating with an NBA franchise, because it's just simply a popularity contest. How is that fair to the player who's working hard and gets snubbed because Kobe just is a popular player? He can do no wrong. He could average 2-2 and he still make the All-Star team.
It's true.
It is broken. The NBA needs to work on improving their game, and they need to improve the NBA voting for sure, because not too many people are doing it. And when you have a popularity contest, it's not representative of the true All-Stars. A point that I didn't make, in terms of the NFL Pro Bowl and the NHL All-Star Game, I'm not a fan of these draft type things. I like it traditional. East versus West, AFC versus NFC. I don't care that Team Carter lost to Team Irvin. That's just annoying and stupid. So I don't like the fantasy drafts. It's just made for TV nonsense. These All-Star games really are trying to do whatever they can to draw more ratings. Just get back to tradition, do what you got to do, and let's keep it moving. But I don't like the gimmicks at all.
Well, moving on to another All-Star game that took place, we had the Pro Bowl that just took place, and you brought that up. Matt Stafford won the Pro Bowl Offensive MVP award this year for the Pro Bowl. He threw 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Now, is Matt Stafford really an all-star QB or just another guy who put up some gaudy numbers in a game that doesn't matter?
Don't you open your mouth about the best, or I'm going to shut it for you real quick.
Because right now, we are reaching a very polarizing point for Matthew Stafford. People on Twitter, people on Facebook were kind of commenting on Matthew Stafford's performance. And right away, you get the hate or you get the praise. And there's really no middle ground right now when we're talking about Stafford. Either you believe this guy is a guy that has talent, is on the verge of greatness, is a guy that's going to do great things for the city of Detroit, is going to be a leader in the future, a franchise guy. And then you have the other people who are hating on Matthew Stafford saying, hey, great, he puts up great numbers, he's got a lot of flash, but no results. No playoff wins. We haven't really advanced with him. He makes some mistakes in key situations, and some people are starting to say, hey, maybe we should draft another quarterback to kind of push him. Where do I fall in terms of this? Well, one, the Pro Bowl is nonsense. They don't tackle. They don't really try. They're not trying to hurt each other. So, of course, when there's no pass rush, when there's no blitz, when there's no defense that's trying to confuse each other, of course, Matthew Stafford's going to shine. And, of course, Matthew Stafford would be the MVP. And, of course, Matthew Stafford passing the ball to Odell Beckham Jr. You freaking serious?
Dude, you see how many times, too, and how nice that looked?
I couldn't take it anymore. After the second one, I couldn't take it.
He could have been your 10th pick. Instead, you get Eric Ebum.
I couldn't take it, and it was so frustrating to watch. It ruined the enjoyment because I was one of those guys that said, okay, let me enjoy the game, but watching Stafford throw the ball to Beckham, it just made me wish, why couldn't we have this more often? You can't say that Beckham would have done the same thing with the Lions because it looks like Joe Lombardi may have misused him, may have used him in the slot, he may have been the Ryan Broyles. You never know. May not have been on the field. You never know. But it was just so tough to watch Matthew Stafford have success with Odell Beckham Jr.
Did you hear that he is still suffering from 2 tears in his hamstring? Could you imagine what that guy's going to be like when he's 100% healthy? He played the rest of the season. He played the entire season on a bum wheel. And he went to the Pro Bowl and he shined with a guy like Matt Stafford throwing him the ball. Could you imagine what he's gonna be a terror?
One thing, you can't take too much stock into what he did in the Pro Bowl.
No, but just look at what he's done the last 12 games of the regular season. The guy's gonna be a terror. And he's got freaking mouth breather himself, Eli Manning, chucking him the rock.
Yeah, Odell
Guy's
Beckham
going to be a beast.
Odell Beckham is going to be a beast.
Could have been your 10th overall pick. Instead, you needed to address a need at tight end. Really? The guy was underused, dropped balls all the time. You have a guy like that. You paid him. You signed him to a 4-year contract. Paid him, $16 million over 4 years. You have Stonehands Pettigrew. You don't need another one. You got a guy like Joe Fourier who can catch the ball, doesn't really run great routes, and can't block real great, but the guy is at least a lethal weapon when you get in the red zone. You have tight ends. You have guys. Most guys go find tight ends. They go peel them off couches and plug them in. Not the Lions. Let's go draft one.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't take too much stock. I don't care what Matthew Stafford did in the Pro Bowl. I only care what he does weeks 1 through 16 on Sundays, get us some wins, get us to the playoffs, and I just can't stop looking at the next year's schedule. It's not a cupcake.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. So I just, like I said, going forward, you're going to have to broom some people. And the more I think about it, I just don't think this team is going to hamstring themselves by signing Ndamukong Suh to a long-term deal. I just don't see it because...
Do you think they franchise tag him?
Because what championship team do you know that spends that much money? None. Exactly.
I'm not even going to let you finish the question. None.
Exactly. Nobody. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm hoping that this year wasn't the peak year for Coach Caldwell. To answer your question, I don't take any account or any stock into what he did in the Pro Bowl. I cannot sit there and say, oh, he's going to be great because he did great in the Pro Bowl. Congratulations, you earned 50 G's for your appearance. You threw the ball to Golden Tate. You look good. You took a nice picture with some cheerleaders. Get back here in Detroit, work hard, and Joe Lombardi, please, coach, let him be unleashed next year. You ran a vanilla offense with a guy who's a Ferrari. He's got a big arm. He's got great talent. And next year, you cannot play this way. Everyone said the offense stagnated, and it just was disappointing all year. Going forward, if they continue to play that way, you're going to lose a lot of fans.
I think that's a conundrum with Stafford, too, is he tends to show up when it necessarily doesn't always matter, and it doesn't necessarily help you. And a lot of times, he'll show up in big games, and he'll throw that key interception, and that's kind of what you got with this Pro Bowl. You know, they were right there in the red zone, turned it over to J.J. Watt, who ended up winning the defensive MVP. Stafford ends up winning the offensive MVP, but he put up a bunch of gaudy numbers. And in the end, do those numbers really matter? Of course not, because it's a Pro Bowl. That's all I got for you, Doc. Great job. I applaud you.
Yes, sir. Another round of the Doctors and Sessions in the books. Stay with us after the break. We're going to talk about it. The big game this Sunday, Seattle, the Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. We're trying to get through this week. Luckily, the whole Deflategate is kind of waning a little bit, but lots of issues came about from Tuesday's media day. What's going to happen during the game on Sunday? Doc and Jock will break it down. And then finally, at the end of the show, the Doc's going to have to man up, make a decision as to who will win, and it's for all the marbles in the Doc and Jock NFL Pick'em Challenge. It's on me, and the pressure's coming. I only got maybe 15 minutes left to decide, and I'm still waffling to let you know. All right, stay with us. We will be right back. I also want to let you guys in on a great website, uofmdiehards.com. Check out their website. They got great blogs, great articles dedicated to all things University of Michigan. They have interviews with Michigan commits. They cover all sports. They break down breaking news in regards to Michigan. Check out their website, uofmdiehards.com. Doc and Jock check out their website quite a bit. If you're a fan of Michigan, if you're a Michigan diehard, there's no better website to check out than uofmdiehards.com.
I'm go blue, baby.
This is the Detroit Pistons dancing usher. My name is Shannon. And when I'm not at the Palace, I'm listening to Detroit Sports Podcast. Log in, listen in, have some fun with us. Love this group. Love the station.
But
you the Hollywood Hulk Hogan of this podcast?
Because you know I love me some wrestling. You just got to play this, man. When they had on a couple weeks back, the WWE had the wrestling reunion there, and whenever they play this music, I get amped. So I just got to keep myself up, and I just love this stuff, man. Just sit back, listen.
You know who's the greatest fail case ever to come out of wrestling? Your boy Scott Hall. Scott Hall's a disaster in real life. He was the best wrestler, though. I love when he was Razor Ramon. He'd come out all oiled up and slicked up, and he'd sit there with his little toothpick and his tight Speedo, and he'd be like, machismo. Oh, it was great, dude. Razor's Edge was like the lamest finishing move ever.
Listen, I'm sorry for those of you who aren't as big at wrestling fans as myself. I'm the one that's in charge of the sound and all that good stuff, so I know Adam pretty soon will be like, bro, you got to cut that nonsense off. But I like it. I like to listen to it, and I'll turn up one more time. I'm loving playing with this, and I'll turn it up, and then we'll get to our Super Bowl preview. Just love it. How can you not like this?
But life.
Yes, sir.
Detroit Sports Podcast for life.
Come on, man. It's all good, man. It's all good. I love wrestling. I love me wrestling. And some people were actually kind of bashing me because I was all previewing Raw and live tweeting during Monday Night Raw. What was on during the week? Nothing. Monday was nothing. And so people were like, why are you live tweeting during the game? Why are you live tweeting during wrestling? It's because I'm a wrestling snob and I love it.
Wrestling fan, dude.
That's the way it is. Too bad. All right, cuz it's time. Sunday. First of all, what are you doing? What is your plan for this Sunday? Big game, 6:30 Eastern time, Seattle versus New England. What's your Super Bowl plans?
I have none at this moment in time. I thought I had a hockey game at 4:30. Currently, I got to work till 5, so I have no idea what I'm doing yet. I got to figure it out, though. What do you got going on? You got a big bash going on at the crib?
No. I am going to, for the third year in a row, go to my sister's house.
Okay.
So it's good. My sister hosts Super Bowl. She, her and her husband, they put out a nice spread. The tough part is, though, is going to be kid central.
Oh, yeah, dude, because there's 19 little kids running around over there.
Me and my sister have given my mom 5 grandkids in 4 years.
Jeez.
So it's tough because, you're going to have little kids running around, my 2, my sister's 3, and so it's a little challenging. So what my tradition now for the last couple of years has been tape the game at home, kind of follow it along on Twitter as much as I can, chase after the Rugrats, and then get home around 11, 12, stay up a little bit, watch some coverage, and then watch the commercials at home on a DVR. That's the best way to do it for me.
You like watching the commercials?
I'm a commercial guy.
You are a commercial guy.
Come on. You're looking at me like, okay, like I was looking at you going shopping. I like the commercials, man. And then everyone's like, shh, because that's what it's about. Listen, I've watched thousands and thousands of hours of football. I mean, unless it's going to be a great comeback, these two teams are not going to move the needle all that much for me. I'm going to enjoy the experience, enjoy the food. The commercials, man, are great. They're going to, by all accounts, some good commercials this year.
I guess, dude. The commercials, you know what? Every now and then there'll be that one that you're just like, oh, that's a really great commercial. But other than that, dude, I'm there for the game. I'm there for generally playing poker, and I'm there for the beer.
Okay.
That's why I'm the jock, dude.
All right.
That's why you're the doc.
I want you to listen to this, and let's talk about the first controversy or not the first controversy. Let's talk about the first interesting point from Media Day. Marshawn Lynch doesn't fail to deliver. I know Dan Miller, who's been on the podcast, doesn't care about Marshawn Lynch, but dude is just crazy. Listen to this. Listen to his response 30 times. I don't know if you heard this. He said this 30 times.
Just here so I won't get fined, boss.
30 times.
I love Marshawn Lynch. About that action, boss.
I won't get fined, boss.
He won't talk to the media.
He does, dude. It's not his thing. He's a weird dude, man. I don't know. What I don't get is, I know he's contractually obligated to do it because it's part of what was negotiated by the Players Association. But he doesn't want to talk. Why did they keep putting him out there? He's not going to
get fined.
Right,
boss.
that's right. You're just here because you won't get fined, boss. I don't understand why the team puts him out there and why the media goes to him. You know you're not going to get nothing from him. You'll get seriously, he would be the best interview ever. You ask him one question, hold your microphone in front of him, you get your clip, and then you move on to the next one.
Just
stop asking questions, man. It just, I don't understand it. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I think he shouldn't be given the platform. Just walk away.
Yeah,
I think
he doesn't want to talk, so why are you going to force him to talk and answer questions?
It's one of those things, man. But, when you watch
Does
NFL...
this bother you? Does it bother you?
Does it bother me that he doesn't talk?
Yeah.
I think right now, he's making it a game, and he's making it an embarrassment. And I don't like people that do that. It's obvious, yes, you're trying to show up the league, and you're trying to embarrass reporters. You're trying to make it difficult for them. And I understand now the paranoia these athletes have. Because what we do is, we and I'm sure we've been guilty of it. We take bits and clips, and we manipulate it in a way that makes it entertaining for us and makes it funny. Because, I added the boss at the end. That's not exactly how it went. But He is nervous and frustrated that people are taking his words, twisting them around, and using it for their own good. And so I understand that. Just keep it simple. Keep it politically correct. All these athletes know nowadays what to say to not get in trouble. Give them the PC answer. I'm here at the Super Bowl. I'm having a great time. Let's keep it moving. Just keep saying that. But to keep, making jokes of it, it kind of takes away from media day. It is entertaining. I mean, Dion had a big old chuckle when he was interviewing him. But, it's one of those things where he's not going to do it. I just hope he doesn't continue it and just stop finding him. Let him do his thing. And let's get back to breaking down the game.
I just wish they'd let him go. I don't know why they have to ask him. And he doesn't want to give the response, so I guess he doesn't have to give the response. As a reporter, I don't know why you'd go and keep asking him questions. You know what you're going to get, so just move along. Don't even, like you said, don't give him the platform. Just keep it moving. Let him show up. Let him sit there for 4 minutes, and then let him walk away.
Just here so I won't get fined, boss.
I think the whole thing is it's ridiculous at this point, and it gets blown out of proportion.
Before we keep going, how you liking the sound card thing? You like hearing that nonsense?
This is great. I love this. This is great. It's like actually doing real radio. Okay. I feel like we're doing real radio, bro. This is awesome.
That's how you got to do it, man. I told you.
We're big time.
75 podcasts
but not
in.
really.
No, we're not big time, but 75 podcasts in. People know who we are. People are coming on here. And so let's break it down. Seattle versus New England. Offensive line of New England, strength. Defensive line for Seattle, strength. Who's going to win the matchup? Who's going to dominate this game? Is Tom Brady going to outshine Russell Wilson? Is LeGarrette Blount going to outgain Marshawn Lynch? Lots of storylines, lots of interesting points. This game has the potential to be a classic. I think last year, a lot of hype was given to Denver in that offense, and Seattle showed, hey, we're here. Our defense is prolific. But Seattle's defense this year going around, great during the regular season. In the playoffs, they performed very well. But Richard Sherman came out of the NFC title game with an injury. Is he going to be 100%? What's his effectiveness going to be? Is Tom Brady going to challenge him? I don't think so. I think that LeGarrette Blount is going to run and run and run and try to establish the run early. I think that Tom Brady is going to test whoever's going to be covering Gronk, whoever wins that matchup up front. Can the offensive line of New England get that push play after play, and can they wear Seattle down? It's going to be interesting. That's going to be the key matchup. And it looks like Rob Gronkowski, massive tight end for New England, is going to be a major factor in this game. Tom Brady's going to target him. He's going to look to get him the ball early, and if Seattle struggles covering him, there was a game earlier this year, week 2, Seattle went and played, I believe on the road, they played the Chargers, and Antonio Gates went off. So I know that Coach Belichick is great at checking out film and learning from past film. And so that's one right there that was eye-opener to me. What's going to happen this game? It's fascinating because it's strength versus strength. New England's defense is not bad. They're not great. But in the end, it's going to come down to who's going to make the key plays at the end. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I would be shocked if this game is more than 7 points. I think it's going to be a close game throughout. And, when I thought about this game, I kept racking my brain. I'm like, wow, my gut's telling me New England, but Seattle's playing great. I did text Justin Rose, fellow Sparty, go green, and he texted back. He said Seahawks. Didn't give a score, but he says Seahawks. A lot of people, it's basically down the middle, and it's going to be a tough game to decide. I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be close, but I'm not exactly sure who has the edge as we speak.
I think for the Patriots, their key is Gronk. Rob Gronkowski has to get favorable matchups. And the inverse of that is Seattle's going to have to do some type of bracket defense to contain him. If Gronkowski gets loose, he's going to pick up huge yards. He's going to score touchdowns. He's going to be the difference maker for the New England Patriots. The Patriots on defense have to shut down Marshawn Lynch. You can't let Beast Mode do Beast Mode things. You can't sit there and let him run 79 yards trucking over dudes while he's sitting there giving you a stiff arm in the chest, breaking rib bones. You can't do it. Offensively, the Patriots are going to have to force feed Gronk the ball, get him open, get him in space, work on some type of rub patterns where he'll sit there and flare out to the sideline, pick up a few yards after the catch. Defensively, that line's going to have to sit there and contain Marshawn Lynch. You don't really shut Lynch down. You just have to contain him. You got to keep him bracketed. You got to pocket him. He's going to get his yards. He's going to get his yards. You just can't let him break one for 50 or 60 or 70 yards. And the guy's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a lethal weapon. He's a guy who I would love to see in Honolulu Blue next year.
Just here so I won't get fined, boss.
So you got to sit there and you're going to have to help contain him. You're going to have to force him to if he's going to make plays, they can't be large plays. They can only be 3 yards at a time. That's it. You got to sit there and you got to stuff them at the line. That's all you can do. For the Seahawks, they can't turn the ball over. You can't have a repeat of what happened in Green Bay. If you do that with the New England Patriots, you're not coming out of this alive. There's no way in hell. They turned the ball over 4 or 5 times against Green Bay. You can't do that with New England Patriots. They'll capitalize and they'll turn it on you, and you're going to, before you know it, you'll be down 21 points, and there's no coming back from that. And they're going to have to sit there and get pressure on Brady. You're going to have to force Brady to either step up in the pocket, try to move side to side. You're going to have to force him to sit there and turn the ball over. Once he turns the ball over, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, any one of those guys in the Legion of Boom are going to have to pick the ball up, and they're going to have to help get it back down the field, and you're going to have to try to put some points on the board. I think for Seattle, it's going to have to be a team game, team effort, and it's going to start with that defense.
Gronk, second fastest player in NFL history to get to 50 touchdowns. He got 50 touchdowns in 59 games.
The guy's a beast, man. He's a savage. And think about it. He's got like 3 or 4 other brothers who were kind of like minor players in the league. He was like the baby out of like 4 guys. And the dude just comes in, he's a straight savage. I mean, especially, you remember last year when he was basically decapitated? He was cut in half on the field, and they had to cart him off. And the guy comes back and had a stellar year this year.
Push comes to shove. Seattle's defense is only allowing 185.6 passing yards a game. Do you think the New England offensive line gives Brady time? Because if he's given time, if dude can sit there in the pocket, look at his receivers, look at Edelman, look at Gronk, play the short passing game, get high efficiency in terms of the offense, then the offense is going to roll and put up a lot of points. So push comes to shove. Do you think that New England's offensive line is going to be the force, or is Seattle's defense tough defense? Are they going to be able to get the pressure and cause maybe some turnovers with Tom Brady?
I don't know if it's going to be their offensive line that's going to help save them and protect Tom Brady. I think what it's going to be Belichick going up against Carroll. And I think the things that Belichick will do, you kind of seen it in their last game, where they would sit there and substitute guys in and make them eligible, take other guys, make them not eligible. It's kind of confusing if you're on the defensive side. And this is the perfect defense to test this against, because this defense is intelligent, they're smart, they're well-versed, they know their coverages, they know their roles, they know what they have to do. But I think doing that and doing it a couple of times, shuffling the lineups in and out, I think that might be the difference, and I think that might buy them a few plays where they can get the ball down the field and get into scoring position. I think that might be the difference for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots.
Marshawn Lynch is going to have to be a factor. Russell Wilson is going to make plays. What New England's defense is going to have to do is keep him in the pocket. A significant portion of his yards, because on the run, rushing, he gets a lot of yards when plays break down, and when
and he's smart about it too.
Yeah,
he'll pick up 10, 12 at a clip, and he'll go right down. He'll get you your first down, then he's down, and he'll just live to fight another day. And then same thing, play will break down, he'll get the edge, pick up 7 yards, go down, and then just keeps doing it. He's a smart football player. He's got a great arm. He's got a great IQ.
Yeah, it's such a great matchup, such a great game that we're going to get to watch. Is Marshawn Lynch going to get those long runs? Is he going to make a move? Is Marshawn Lynch going to grab his crotch going into end zone? Over under 1. Does he grab his crotch in the Super Bowl? Dude's getting fined up the ass, bro.
All over the place. I'm gonna say he does it twice, so I'm gonna go over.
Oh,
I'm hoping he wears gold cleats, man. I don't understand why they sat there and said that they would suspend him or not let him play if he wore the gold cleats. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid.
Because when this whole Deflategate thing was going on, it's obviously a distraction. It's obviously something that's talked about. But I really feel like New England and the organization has done what they can do to come out and say, hey, listen, we are not guilty of this offense. We did not deflate the balls. We did not intentionally try to manipulate footballs in order to gain an advantage, okay? And now Robert Kraft has come out, Bill Belichick has come out and said, hey, we did not do this. You know that there's going to be at least 5 or 6 shots of the football on the sidelines and things like that. When the whole Deflategate thing happened, it's a weird story. It's another mark on New England. I don't think it's going to be a big factor in this game. I think that on some sick, weird level, this Deflategate controversy, this drama, may help New England stay motivated, stay focused. And this is why one of those things where it's just so tough to decide how this game is going to play out, because you would think this is going to be a distraction.
You would think it'd be a huge distraction.
But no, they've come out and said, listen, this is what we're going to talk about. We didn't do it. This is something that we did not do. But in the end, what's awful is Roger Goodell, the commissioner. We all know you're paid by the owners. You can't, the day before the AFC Championship game, be taking pictures at the house of an owner. I mean, how stupid is the NFL? It makes it look like there's some shadiness going on. It makes it look like that things are not on the up and up.
It's a buddy system, man.
Yes, the owners are paying him $40 million.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
They call, you got to show up.
That's who he works for, man. He doesn't work for the players. That's why when the players get all bent out of shape about their fines and stuff, you don't work for him. You work for the NFL, and in return, the owners sit there and they hire Roger Goodell, who then works for them. And he's the guy who's handing out your fines. It doesn't, the way the system is set up, it's set up to take advantage of the players and to make millions off the pennies that they break in. It's just how it's set up, man.
It's one of those weird things. I think the press conference that Roger Goodell holds annually, the state of the NFL, is going to be wild. I think it's Friday. So if it's not, if this podcast is available, tune into that press conference, because if you have some interesting reporters, ones that want to make a name for themselves, you're going to go up there and you're going to ask, hey, in this 2014 season, you had Ray Rice, you had the Adrian Peterson controversy, you had Deflategate. Kind of looks like you're a pretty shitty commissioner. What are you going to do to improve your image? And can you imagine that if someone went out, they're not going to swear, but if you went out and put it like that, you're going to see a guy squirm, and he has a lot to answer for, because he stinks compared to the last commissioner. He's not protecting the shield, as many of the players say. He's not doing a great job.
The worst part about the whole Deflategate thing is that took place in the first half when Tom Brady threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I think he threw like 170 some yards. He came back that second half and just annihilated Indianapolis, just killed them. And this investigation thus far, the things that have been leaked about it, is there was a ball boy who disappeared in a bathroom for 30 seconds and came back and returned the balls to the officials. So you mean to tell me that in 30 seconds, while this ball boy was in there probably taking a whiz, he deflated 11 balls and slightly deflated a 12th ball? There's no way. Yeah, it is. Damn straight it's unbelievable. There's no way. And if the NFL crucifies a ball boy for something that the New England Patriots may or may not have done, which I'm expecting, I fully expect is going to be the case. There's going to be a sacrificial lamb, and it's going to be Justin the ball boy who's going to have to sit there and lay on the sword for it. If they come out and they sit there and hammer him, what does that say about your league? What does that say about you guys? That's right. I like me.
This is bad.
Damn straight.
I knew you'd like that. I think I've gotten through over half of them. I like it. I loaded off 16 of these bad boys. I like it. This is bad. I had another one. This is disgusting. It's bad. Yeah, all around it's bad. And he's got to do a better job next year. In all honesty, ratings are through the roof. Attendance is crazy. I really believe the NFL is the golden goose. You can't kill it.
It just gets more powerful with the more controversy.
Domestic violence, you got gambling, you got questions regarding the legitimacy of games. You had, we didn't even talk about the Lions and how they got screwed. What's going on with the NFL? And yet, record ratings, you're going to have a huge rating for the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And it should really, if the fans really were smart, they would get together and be like, hey. And also during the year, did you notice that 3 stadiums got busted for not technically serving alcohol to their guests? Some bars were caught. People did some investigative stuff and said, hey, this is not alcohol you're serving me. Some bars at NFL stadiums were not serving alcohol and charging people for alcohol.
They were cutting it like with water or pop and charging them for liquor? Wow.
Exactly, yeah. Tampa Bay got caught. I know that for sure. Amazing. And 2 other stadiums got caught for doing that stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And like you said, they just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I think the NFL is on steroids. That's what it is. That's the only answer.
But, Sunday, 6:30,
the whole league.
We'll be watching.
Performance enhanced. Yeah, damn straight we will.
I'll be watching.
We're junkies.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Welcome to America. We play real football.
Okay.
Not that stuff my wife likes.
So who do you think will be the MVP? When the game's over, who do you think is going to be holding the Super Bowl MVP trophy? Who has that stellar game? Who has that game that makes you go, hey now?
Can I give you 2?
Yeah, of course you would.
It's either going to be Tom Brady or it's going to be, thanks. It'll either be Tom Brady or Russell Wilson.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm not going out the box. Yeah. Do you want me to get real creative here? I'll get real creative for you. It'll either be Rob Gronkowski or it'll be Marshawn Lynch. Those are my 2 key factors for this game. So I think it'll be I think it's going to be a quarterback, but it'll be one of those two guys who make the entire difference in the game.
One of those things where it could be the all-time classic interview. He gets like 3 touchdowns. He has a great game. They don't name him the MVP, maybe because they don't want him to maybe make a fool of himself at the conference.
Oh, dude, that would be outstanding.
He's the guy.
That'd be more controversy.
Yeah, he stands up there and he's just grabbing himself, or he just goes up there and acts a fool. Wouldn't that be outstanding?
About that action, boss.
I got fined $200K this year. I want it back. Man, oh man, I can't wait. No, it's going to be a great game. I'm trying to stall a little bit before I make my pick. I'm trying to stall. It's going to be a great game. I know Russell Wilson's going to make plays. Tom Brady's going to make plays.
I feel like you're fishing for answers like the entire Super Bowl segment. I feel like you're fishing for where I'm leaning.
No, I think you would pick Seattle because you're a defensive guy.
Yeah, you picked offense. I picked defense last year. There you go.
Oh, so maybe you would pick Seattle this year. Maybe I'm mistaken. My memory's bad anyway, so let's do this.
All right.
The time has come.
Truth time.
All right, let's recap for those who haven't listened to us before. Every week, Doc and Jock picked 4 games, and each of the 3 games in the preliminary round was worth a point. And then we picked the Lions game for 2 points. And then we picked games in the playoffs as we speak now. Doc is leading 55-52.
So close. It all comes down to this.
So it comes down to this. It is up to the Doc. This pick is worth 5 points.
5 points.
So the spread is 2. So there still is a little wiggle room where I could pick the correct team and still lose. So if it's a 1-point game and I pick Seattle, I will lose. But the loser, so if I lose and I pick, if I pick and I lose, I will have to don a Michigan t-shirt at the next family fantasy draft. I don't want to do that. I really want to see the Jock wear a Michigan State jersey at the draft and put some pictures up on social media, all on our Twitter to our numerous and growing fans. So it's come down to this. Seattle, their vaunted defense, Super Bowl champs, defending champs with Richard Sherman going up against New England. Great offense, arguably one of the best coaches in all of football. They're coming off of a strong controversy. They're going to be rallying. So I have to go with my gut. Everyone's saying Seattle. First off, though, I can stall a little bit longer. I did put on our Twitter page, give me some scores. So I did pick 2 of the best. Archie Hall tweeted us, Patriots 42, Seahawks 24. Chris Shamazel picked the Seahawks 31, Patriots 17.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Those are like both blowouts.
Yeah, a lot of people.
For like Super Bowl standards, those are blowouts.
Yeah. So based on our Twitter feed at Detroit Podcast, we got a lot of, Seahawk fans, a lot of Patriot fans. It was basically 50-50. Okay. So I should do the drum roll.
All done stalling.
Done stalling. All right. Here we go. The line is 2, huh? Yep. I'm giving you my thought process. My gut instinct tells me New England is going to win this game because Tom Brady's going to want to go out a winner. I think that this is going to be an opportunity that he's going to seize. But at the same time, Justin Rose at WXYZ picks the Seahawks. A lot of people think that Seattle's going to win because of the defense and Russell Wilson. But in the end, I cannot look myself in the mirror if I don't go with my gut. So I'll go down and I'll say that I'm going to take New England to win the Super Bowl by 6 points. So what is it? Is it Seattle +2 or Seattle -2?
It's the Patriots -2, Seattle's +2.
Seattle's the underdog. Seattle's the underdog. You sure?
Yes.
Okay,
Seattle's the underdog, so you're laying 2 points if you take the Patriots.
So Patriots have to win by 2. Okay,
that's what I'm going with?
I'm going with the Patriots by 2.
All right, well, I don't have much choice in the decision because I'm behind the 8 ball here, so I have to take Seattle.
Yeah.
But I was actually hoping you would take the Seahawks because in my gut, I think the Patriots are going to win as well. So if the Seahawks win, I won't be disappointed because I'm getting +2. So, or you know what? Even if New England wins by 1, I'll be happy because I'll still win. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, all in all, though, I was leading all year. So if I do lose, it's one of those things where this game is going to be tight. Yes. I don't see the team pulling away. It's going to be a close game all the way through. And it's one of those things where if you're a football fan, tune in. I think it's going to be an exciting game. And let's hope the lights stay on all the way through the game. Something weird could happen this game. It's in Glendale, Arizona. The power could go out. And it's something, something's going to happen. I'm going to call it. Something weird is going to happen. Maybe a fan's going to run on the field during the Super Bowl. Something outrageous is going to happen. Maybe the fan man, the notorious guy who flew in the boxing match. Fan man maybe return. Someone comes flying in like in the fourth quarter tie game. Or there could be a call that goes awry. Something weird is going to happen in this game, so look for it.
There's definitely going to be something crazy. There always is. That's how it is.
So Doc takes the Patriots, and Jock takes Seattle by force. Another great podcast, cuz. You like the setup here?
Yeah, dude, this is great. I like this. Hope everything comes out well. Hope everything sounds great.
Yeah.
we'll see what happens next week. This should be good.
Okay.
Good luck to you. Good luck to me.
For the Jock, Adam Strozynski, I am the Doc, John Macaroon. This has been episode 77 of the Detroit Sports Podcast. Support us by going to our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll talk to you next week.
Go Seahawks.
Let me go take a load off.
I just here so I won't get fined, boss.
Turn up.
Mike Wilmer.
We gon' always get money, man. Young Jeezy, Big Sean, Juicy J. Let's get it. Every time I go out, you know I got to show out.